Good morning. It's Sunday, December the 21st. I want to share with you what we're going to be talking about next Sunday. This morning at A Place to Talk, the reason there wasn't a video this past week is because this morning at A Place to Talk, we're just having breakfast together. That's it. It's Christmas at Grandma's. We just come together, get together, eat together, laugh together. And I I think years ago I was asking myself, what would God want? What would That's kind of a weird question, right? But what would Sunday at Christmas, if we're celebrating Jesus's birthday, what would that look like? And I kind of thought to myself, I think that what what Jesus or God might want would just be for his people, his family, everyone to be together. And so that's what we're going to do this morning at A Place to Talk. We're just eating breakfast together. We're just being together and enjoying each other's company. Now, next Sunday at A Place to Talk, a week from today, that'll be December the 28th, right after Christmas. We will be talking about the heart of the law, the heart of the law. This is Jesus's words on anger, or Jesus' own anger, words and reconciliation. Um, Sometimes in some Bibles, this little section of Matthew 5 is subtitled murder. And so let's talk about this. Here's what the text says. If you've heard that it was said to you have heard that it was said to people long ago, you shall not murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who is angry with his brother or his sister will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says to a brother or sister, Raca, is answerable to the court. What does Raca mean? And anyone who says you fool will be in danger of hellfire. So in this passage, we've got anger, Raca, you fool. Three ideas there. Therefore, if you are offering a gift at your at the altar, and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First, go and be reconciled to them, and then come and offer your gift. Settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. Do it while you're still together on the way, or your adversary may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison. Truly, I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid every last penny. Why did Jesus say Raca? What's the idea there? Jesus places Raca between anger and outright condemnation. He says, when you're angry, then he says, Raca. He talks about this Raca passage, and then he says, you fool. What does he say about Raca? Let's look at that again. He says, but I tell you, anyone who is angry with his brother or sister will be subject to judgment. And again, anyone who says to a brother or a sister, Raca, shall be answerable to the court. Now that fire of hell, it's 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 the place outside of Jerusalem that's the trash bin. It's the place where they burn their trash. It burned and burned and burned because they were burning so much trash there. They always kept trash burning there. And and that's the text that Jesus is talking there about. He's not talking about some eternal damnation, some kind of fire of eternal hell. He's talking about you may be subject. Well, he goes on to talk about courts and judges here. You may be subject to be thrown into the trash bin. And that's really what that word raka means. It means useless, nothing, value, without value, worthless. And so Jesus is saying anger, raka, you fool. It's almost like three stages of contempt, three stages of disgust. Jesus isn't obsessed with vocabulary. He's exposing how easily we strip people of dignity. Anger is internal hostility, Raka is verbal dismissal, and you fool is moral condemnation. It's saying you're beyond hope. Jesus is connecting those three things, and he's showing that it starts in your heart, and then it comes out in your words, and then it can even go into your actions. If it starts in your heart, it can come out in your words, and you might actually get physically violent if you harbor anger in your heart. Um, so Jesus here is taking murder, and he's not. He's not upping the level of murder. He's bringing it closer. He's bringing it in, and he's asking you to look inside of yourself and see if that anger is existing in you. What's the difference between being angry and letting anger shape how we see someone? This is what we're going to be talking about this coming Sunday at Place to Talk. We're going to use these next 10 questions. I'm going to ask these next Sunday at a Place to Talk, and we'll just talk about it. This is what we do at a Place to Talk. We have conversations. Of course, we'll pray, so we talk to God, we talk to one another, and we ask God to speak to us. That's our prayer every week. Is God speak to us, not through one man standing in a pulpit preaching to everybody else. That's not the way God speaks. Um, you say, Josh, all across this country, that's what everybody does on Sunday mornings is they go and they listen to a man of God with the words of God, bringing them to the people of God. Well, I think that's crap. I don't buy that. I don't buy that that's the way God ever intended to speak to his people. Instead, what we do at a place to talk, and I'm not saying that we're better, I'm not saying that we're superior, I'm not saying that we're right and everybody else is wrong. I'm just saying this is the way I see it, and this is the way we do it. What we do, we come together, we ask some questions. Before that, we ask God, we say, God, speak to us through anybody in this room, and then we ask questions and we talk. And it's amazing the things that come out in those conversations. It's amazing how often I go, oh wow, that came from God. uh, or somebody else goes, wow, that was what I needed today. So what's the difference between being angry and letting anger shape how we see someone? um, have you ever felt written off by someone's words? What did that do to you? Anybody ever call you worthless or nothing or unworthy or Raca? You probably don't get that condemnation every day, right? You probably don't just go down to the workplace and people are like, Raca, you rock. That just doesn't happen. But you fool might happen, or you're worthless, or we don't need you here, or go away. What do you think? Why do you think reconciliation matters more to Jesus than religious rituals? Before bringing your gift to the altar, Jesus says, get right. What makes reconciliation feel harder than worship? Worship's a ritual, reconciliation's harder. Why? Why is reconciliation so hard? It's easy to go to church. It's hard to apologize to your neighbor. Is it possible to feel justified in anger and still be wrong? Have you ever been right? You know you're justified in this anger, but still your spirit, your heart, your attitude, what you're doing is wrong. Who usually carries the burden when conflict goes unresolved? When conflict isn't resolved, who carries that burden? What does settling matters quickly look like in real life? Not ideal life, but in real everyday, not just this fake, pretend world. I think the thing that comes to my mind about this is how often religious organizations cover up something horrible, and they settle the matter quickly, you know, molestation and rape and misogyny in marriage, and then the religious leader just kind of does whatever to cover it up. That's ideal life. It's BS. It's baloney. It's bullcrap. It gets drug out years later. I mean, we're trying to get the Epstein files released now, and they are so old. Those the FBI settled. Oh, anyway, good night. Settling matters quickly does not just mean sweeping them under the rug. What does it look like in real life? Not this ideal fake life, but in real life. Is reconciliation always possible? Why or why not? What would change in our communities, if dignity came before being right? Jeez. What would change in our communities if we put dignity before just being right? Okay, those are the questions we'll talk about this Sunday at a place to talk. I hope you can join us. 10:30 a.m. Uh, we're in Hickory, North Carolina. You might think of this little community, this town inside of Hickory as Brookford. It's just a little town that's still there, but it's our address is Hickory, North Carolina, 1546 Brookford Church Road. Would love to have you there at a place to talk this coming Sunday, uh, December the 28th, right after Christmas. We'll talk about all of these questions here, and the heart of our question is, what's the heart of the law? And the heart of the law. So we were in the Beatitudes, and then Jesus showed us how the Beatitudes were Him interpreting the law and the prophets, and now we're getting deeper into the heart. And I think what we're trying to see here is how the Beatitudes are showing us that the law and the prophets are these external rules, but really they're meant to come back and to look at our heart. What are we thinking in our minds and our heart? That's what we'll talk about this Sunday at a place to talk. Love to see you there.